I look so far away.
Hello.
Rochell, are you there?
Yes, I am.
There she is. So I dropped the ball. I take responsibility for that. Because I was going to come at you like, start the interview, I was going to come at you like this. But now I gotta put the gloves away because, I messed up. So how you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
All right, pretty good. Well, my name is Rick Young. This is another segment of What's in Your Hand. What's in Your Hand is a motivational program. We talk about success, achievement, reaching your goals, reaching your dreams, helping others, and also having fun. Gotta have fun. Gotta make it fun. So, would you give a brief introduction of who you are and what you do? Do you mind?
No, I'd be happy to.
Okay.
So my name is Rochell Isip, and I am a time management coach and consultant. And I help people better manage their time, energy, and stress levels, and really just help them, find a better way to relate to the clock and the calendar.
Mm-hmm. So I did say that this show, the What's in Your Hand should be fun when you're helping people. So let's start off on the fun tip. The picture that I seen with the hair was a little bit shorter. It's a little bit longer now. What's going on? You doing something different now?
Oh, no. Actually, that photo was hair was longer than just pulled back.
Okay. Good. Okay, got it. Okay. So, I broadcast a program this is GHCR, but I also program at WHCR, which is on the campus of City College. So we must be respectful and we must do this right. I want to start with the parents. I want to get to the parents first. I want to pay honor and tribute to them for who they are and what they bring to the table. Because first of all, they're both graduates of City College. That brings
Correct.
much joy to me. So tell me a little bit about moms, and a little bit about pops.
Sure. So my mom graduated from City College with a degree in anthropology, and she later went on to earn her MBA from St. John's. And my dad is also a graduate of City College with a degree in history, and he later went on to earn a Master's of Library Science from Pratt Institute.
So, and your mom, she teaches Tai Chi?
She does. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, Tai Chi is a martial art, and the style that she teaches is the Chen style Tai Chi from the Chen village in China. And, it's a really interesting martial art, takes many years of practice, but is very rewarding for people in so many ways, in mind, body, and spirit. You can really get a full body workout when you're performing the exercises and the moves correctly. So working up a sweat. So it's really impressive.
Right. So now I am paying tribute to Pops. Right? You see that,
Yep,
right?
yep.
See
yes,
that?
I do.
I wasn't a good student in school. I have to admit that, growing up. But then later on in life, I remember teaching boxing. I ran a boxing program at Columbia University. And one of the places I used to hang out, after class or before class or after class or just whenever, was in the library. Hanging out in the library. Well, one of the reasons because they had computers. I was just kind of learning about computers. And it was like, for hours and hours just hanging out so I kind of have a love for the library. Even before that, I started developing a love for the library. So, big respect to Pops, big respect. So he was actually a librarian.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he was there from really the transition time from card catalogs and all of that, and moving into the computer age. So, a very, very interesting point in time to see all that transition go. So
I have a problem. I have a serious problem. And the problem is that there's a buildings in the city
Hmm.
that have gold in those buildings. Literally, you could take gold and diamonds out those buildings, and people walk by and just ignore those buildings. And those buildings have libraries in those buildings, libraries, gold and diamonds, and people just walk right by. You know, so I think I'm working on. I want to do a show related to libraries and the power and the value of libraries.
Oh yes, 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 definitely. I mean, I just today I was borrowing some books online, with the e-borrow. It's really convenient and can be a lot of fun, browsing
Mm-hmm.
through things and, downloading what you're interested in and just have a whole world at your fingertips. And of course, nothing replaces a physical book or doing research too. That can be really exciting as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so time management, productivity. I
Hmm.
mean, who would argue with being more productive? I don't know who would argue with being more productive. So where do you begin? Let's say someone came to you and says, I want to be more a productive person. What's the first step you would tell that person to being more productive?
Okay. Well, the first thing I would say is, what are you doing now? Because we need to have a baseline. We need to know where you are at this present moment. Because being more productive is subjective. Well, you want to be more. Well, how much more? And where are you starting from? So it's really important to know where you are right now at this very moment. And then that being said, where do you want to go?
Hmm.
What do you want the future to look like? How much more do you want to be doing than what you are doing right now? So, it's those 2 points, starting at point A where we are, and then where you want to be, point B. So that if you're trying to get to point B, okay, great, we can increase or modify or change wherever you are right now and move you closer to that goal. And it can be a really interesting exercise because sometimes people underestimate actually how much they're doing, and they're doing a lot, and they're right on track. Sometimes people can overestimate too, or they just, they're going along maybe in the middle somewhere, and they just need to recognize where they are. So that's why it's so important to, identify first, where are you, and then where do you want to go, and then we can start with the increase.
Mm-hmm. So I messed up again. I messed up because it was a question I was supposed to ask you before, and I did not. So I'm going to actually back up. So there's this thing called self-love. And I had a guest, I interviewed him, and I asked him the question, and he really didn't give me what I was looking for. This thing called self-love, right? So I would like for you to tell me something fantastic, something magnificent about Rochell Isip.
Let's see. Something fantastic about Rochell Isip. Let's see. Self-love. I think time and just respecting time and my place in time. Um, I think a lot of people, we're always trying to get things done, and there's that tendency to rush, rush, rush. And, over the past, several years and just doing this work, I can see how much more, I guess expansive would be the word, it is to actually slow down, and instead of pushing forward and just being, in the present moment. And that can be seen in just, so many things, whether you have a meeting or an appointment that's scheduled, or whether you're just taking a break, or you know, just relaxing, or just, in between things, maybe running errands, just being aware and stepping back of, wow, this is a brief moment in time that will never ever happen again. And wow, I mean, we're always, looking to the future. We gotta, the future, all these things, and growing and changing. But sometimes you just have to, slow down and take a step back and just see where you are. And to me, that's a part, I think, of, self-love, of understanding and recognizing, wow, here we are at this date on the calendar in the year, and you know, time of day, and wow, that's never going to happen again. Let me really mark that, and respect it, and respect myself for existing in that moment of time.
So what do you love most about Rochell?
Let's see. I really like how I help others, seeing a different way or a new way of doing things, so that they can do what they need to do, use their gifts and talents in the world. So it's like giving an assist, I guess you would say.
You play basketball too?
No.
Okay.
No, I do not.
Because we know you've done some boxing training. We might hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about that. But basketball, that's great. Assist, that's a great metaphor. So, wow, self-love. What brings you happiness?
Happiness. What brings me happiness? I would certainly say, yeah, helping people, doing a job and having a job done, well done, all those pieces, goes back to, just like I said, living in the moment, like, wow, I just experienced this thing, this activity or this exercise, and I'm feeling really good about it. And just, sitting with it and being with it, having gone through it and then just experiencing, that moment, like, wow, I feel really good about that. So yeah, that really makes me feel good. Very happy.
But have you had a project that you worked on that, or do you help someone with, that you could talk about that was a success?
Oh, yes. Several. I'll have to, just choose one of them. Otherwise I'll keep on talking.
Great.
But
Great.
I worked with a woman once who needed help with time management, and, you could just tell that she was just tired and exhausted and all that. And over the course of our time, spent working together, growing and changing and having her look at things in a new way. And just seeing like her whole face just change and her whole way of being, it was from more of a, kind of drained and feeling tired. And, by the end of the time that we spent working with each other, just, bright, alive, full of energy, relaxed. You could really, really see that it was such a difference. And in some ways, you might not have thought it was the same person because it was such a change, but it was the same person. But she was just an even better version of herself, that I felt really proud to work with, and, to help her grow, because she knew she needed the help. And it was, such an honor to help her, through that process, and to watch her grow and be more confident and radiant. So, that's one great memory that I have.
Why do you think so many people have challenges with time, in your opinion?
I think people have a lot of trouble or challenges with time because, we live in a society where things are just go, 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 go. And we don't understand that there's two pieces to time. There's the stop, and there's also the go. And if you've not experienced that or understood that there's a time for everything. I know it sounds cliched, but there's a time to plant seeds, there's a time to harvest, there's a time to rest, there's a time to take action. And if you don't understand that, you'll just be stuck in one of those, modalities. You'll either just always be on the go, 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 or you'll just be sitting and, not moving, not doing anything. So I think in a big way, just society, and, it's more maybe seen in a way as being more glamorous when you're always go, go, go. I'm more productive. I'm doing this and this and this and this. But at the same time, in our society too, when people go away on vacation and show photos, oh, wow, look at where you went. Wow, I'm so envious of you. Wow, it was great. That looks wonderful. So, I don't think there's that full appreciation, for the two, modes of being and experiencing time.
Right. Well, one thing that you can deal with your time. What happens when you're dealing with someone else that has a time challenge? Now, what do you do?
Right. So when you're dealing with someone who may be challenged with time, this is a moment for you really to communicate and make sure that you are both understanding or on the same page, so that you can actually be on the same page when it comes to time. That might mean speaking to the person when you're both not in a rush and, just to discuss things about, okay, are we meeting at this time to review the information, what you're going to do, maybe the importance of the meeting. I think communication is a big, big factor, not to assume anything and just communicate, your thoughts and your feelings with the other person. And then also just taking care to make sure that you're doing the best that you can for yourself. We can't control other people or their actions or their thoughts, or their beliefs, but we can take steps ourselves, to respect that relationship that we have with that person and show them the respect of, okay, let me arrive on time to our appointment, or let me communicate with the person, or let me express my concerns because I want to spend time with this person. I think taking those steps, doing that first bit of communication with the person and then respecting yourself and showing that self-love, to extend to the other person. Like, I care about them so much that I am going to do these things to make sure that I arrive on time, that our meeting together isn't affected, and no other things will come in and interrupt that. So I think that's a good path to take for folks.
Now they have people that have jobs that being late is a non acceptable, non negotiable, just can't happen. There are jobs like that, and
Right.
like for example, like if you got to do a surgery or a fire, certain jobs just cannot be late. A fire, you can't be late for the fire. You have to be on. So can you speak to just like having a job that you definitely must be on time?
Right. Right. How to deal with jobs where you have absolutely must be on time. I think a big component of that is identifying it and recognizing it for what it is. I mean, there is some, okay, this job is important, I have to be there on time, but to really understand, what that means. Okay, you have to be on time, but there's so many other pieces that lead up to that moment that have to happen each and every time you go to work. So, components of that, are making sure that you know how long it takes to travel to where you're going, the
Mhm.
route, the traffic, the mode of transportation, the availability of, subways, buses, cars, walking, also yourself, and knowing what exactly you'll need to take with you, for that journey. And also recognizing when it's time to leave wherever it is that you are to go and be on time, for that appointment. I think a lot of times, in my experience, people will say this doesn't necessarily have to be for a job, for some other appointment, as the clock is going, they'll say, oh, I have time for one other thing, or let me just finish this up, or this or that. But they tend to miss the point that we've taken time to schedule an appointment or a meeting or, a job, right? It takes time to schedule things, right? Besides that, we also have to honor and respect that there's just a time for certain things and there's time for not. So when you're trying to arrive on time for work, let's say, that needs to be your number one priority at that moment. Yes, there are other things in life that you have to deal with. We all have to deal with. But at that very moment, if you need to arrive on time, you need to make it your 100% focus. I am going to do everything in my power to arrive on time. That means not being distracted by other things in the home or other errands or tasks that you have, or, doing side conversations with people. If your focus, all of your energies has to be on arriving on time. That's your number one goal. it's your job basically to arrive on time at your job. So that's what I like to, tell people. It's like that's it. It switches from here I am, wherever I am, at home, at work, at the park, on the go, to my job at the moment is to get on time to my job. That's the job.
So Rochelle, I always had from a child, I always had a pretty good imagination as a child. I got pictures of me when I was a little kid playing on my bed with my little army man, playing. So I don't remember what I was doing, but I was playing, right? So I have a great imagination. So my imagination right now is like bouncing off the walls because I'm thinking like, what would you tell me? What would a Rachel Isip, is it Isip, right?
Isip,
Yeah.
actually.
What's the pronunciation? Isip.
Isip.
Rochelle Isip boot camp would look like. Give me an idea what that would look like.
A boot camp for what?
For time. A time
For
boot
time?
camp. Yeah.
Let's see. Well,
And let me just tell you.
Uh-huh.
Let me just tell you. If you're not throwing no push-ups in there, I'm not happy. I'm not happy if you're not putting no. It's got to be a real like army boot camp situation. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think the first lesson of the boot camp is to show up on time. So whatever time the boot camp was scheduled for, that would be the first lesson. Wait till everybody filters in, who showed up early, who showed up on time, who showed up late, and that would be the first lesson. You're there to learn about time management, but it really does start with time in, respecting that that class first and foremost, and yourself and what that means, what people were doing. I would ask people, well, people who arrived on time or early, what were you what was in your mind? What was your thoughts about coming to this meeting? What was going on? What action steps did you take? And then I'd ask the people who perhaps showed up late, what happened? What were you thinking? What was going on in your mind? What action steps did you take? And help people see the difference of things and to learn for both sides, because it is a good experience, because if you've never experienced the other side, you just don't know. So that's what I would do first and foremost at the boot camp.
And the ones that are late, right?
Push-ups
how many
are always good.
Huh?
I don't know, maybe however many minutes late, that's how many push-ups you have to do.
Man, listen. For some reason, I talk to people and I mention push-ups. They look at me like, no, there's no way. And usually it's the females. What? They don't understand the value of push-ups.
Oh, push-ups are great.
I'm not. Yeah, they don't understand. I don't know. So
yeah, no, push-ups are great. I do push-ups. And
now,
if there's something out there, someone out there, when it comes to push-ups, women or men, is just get started.
Right.
And just do it. And whatever you can do, that's fine.
Bingo.
And work on it. It's just like time management. Start where you are.
And you can start with modified push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Which some people seem to call female push-ups, which they're really not female. They're modified. Females have said, they're modified push-ups. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? If that's too much, you can do wall push-ups.
Right.
Look at that. So anybody could do a wall push-up.
Right.
And we go from there. There you go.
Yeah.
So
it's there's so many levels and so many ways. And as I like to think of it, it's, well, did you do the push-up or not? Right? Did you do the exercise or not? There's a big difference, right? Did you show up on time or not? But you have to do something.
Yeah, there's a guy, I don't know if you heard of this guy, but he says 5 push-ups is easy to do, but it's also easy not to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so he was teaching on this lesson. It's easy to get down. It's easy, get down and do them, but it's also easy not to do. And because he taught that, a guy wrote a whole book called The Slight Edge, how this little thing makes a huge difference. So
right.
Let me have the title of your book.
Sure. It's The Order Expert's Guide to Time Management.
Mhm.
And, that is a workbook. It's a self-guided workbook that has, different lessons for people about time management, for common time management situations like lateness, procrastination, working on projects, working with other people on time, how to better manage your relationship with time. And it also includes exercises for people to try out, and tips. So it
Oh.
really is, something that I wanted it to not be just a static read. You read about it and okay, that's fine and good. But it's more of a, I had a trouble with this, this issue, maybe procrastination or arriving on time to someplace. Let me see, what does the guide say? Okay, these are the things I need to learn. Okay, and oh, here's some things I can try out and experiment with. And they're not meant to be just like a one-time thing. The experimentation is to see how it happens today, and then when you apply the tips, how do things change in the future? What changed, what was different? Because that's how we learn. When we pay attention to where we are now, we make changes, how we're feeling in the future, and really being mindful of that. Where were we, what were the changes made, and what was helpful to us and what was not so helpful, and taking all the lessons learned and using that in the right way moving forward.
Mhm. And you also have a program that if you're doing an event, how to organize this event in 60 days or something like that.
Yeah, it's also another book, How to Plan a Great Event in 60 Days. So that
How
one
to
is
plan a
a,
great event in 60 days.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's a step-by-step book that shows people how to plan and organize an event. Every day has a different exercise for people to do, and builds off of one thing off of another, like getting the venue, inviting guests, working on your budget, in a step-by-step fashion. So if people
Very
are
important.
pressed for time, or just haven't done it before, or just need a guide, it's there. It's a handy resource.
So I'm planning a 1,000 show celebration early next year. So I guess we have to talk.
Hmm.
I'm, planning that 1,000 shows.
Yeah, it's a big
1,000.
deal. That's a
Yeah,
big deal.
yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it was a good thing that I counted. I was able to keep track and I counted. So that was a good thing. Order. I guess to be on time, I think order is very important. Can you talk about like being in order and how important that is?
Sure, sure. So I think all of these subjects are just interrelated, organization, time management, and productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to order and time, there's that whole thing of doing the right things in sequence. So, for example, you wouldn't, if you were trying to get to, your job on time, you wouldn't just leave your house, shut the door, and then start to try to pack your bag, right? You need to be inside your home to start packing your things, because that's where all of your belongings are. So there's that order. You can't do things out of sequence. You can't, um, you know, run outside and, hop on the bus and then, start packing your bag or packing, your lunch or things like that. It has to be in the right order or sequence. So that's the first thing. And then I think also there's that order of planning through for the day or for the rest of the day. So, I know you do this, and I've done this too. Like if you're exercising or going to be exercising later in the day, and you're not coming home right away, you need to think about, okay, not only do I need my immediate items, personal items, but I need to pack up my exercise gear. I need to plan ahead. I need to think about the things that I need in hand so that I can do my exercises. So does that mean a change of clothes, shoes, um, wraps, gloves, things like that. And thinking, okay, where am I going to be? My water bottle. Okay. So, you need to gather all of those items and put them in a bag or have them with you in some way so that you can find them. So that's another type of order, too, when it comes to being on time. Not only the order of tasks and that you're trying to perform, but also thinking about items that you'll need and the order of those items.
So when you heard the name of this radio program, What's in Your Hand? What came to mind for you when you heard that? What's in your hand?
Sure. So I thought about, one's hand and what's in your hand, and time. Time is what's in your hand. Um, it's there, it's available to you. There's so many ways of using it and interacting with it, and just that, asking that question, like, what is in your hand? It's like, yeah, I have the opportunity right now to do some push-ups. I have the opportunity right now to plan ahead for a meeting. I have the opportunity right now to do nothing, just relax, turn off all, electronic devices and just take a break. So many things that you can do at any moment, just what's in your hand, time. Time is what's in your hand.
So I want you to go deep into your heart and talk about the preciousness of time. You got your mom, you got your pop, you got other family members, you got people you care about. Go deep into your heart and talk about the preciousness of time. Oh, before you say that, I have a uncle, wife, my cousin aunt is sick right now. The last text I got is that her body's shutting down. She said, say a prayer for her. Right now, her name is Nita. And, precious time, the preciousness of time.
Yeah. I think going back to what I was saying about time and just understanding of the passage of that, it's not only our individual interaction with that time, but time spent with others. And there's so many layers that you could do, right? Sure, there's the time that you set aside when you're, sitting with someone or speaking with someone on the phone. That's, the time that passes, those minutes or those hours. But there's also the time too about whether or not you're actually there with them. And by there, I'm meaning, are you being present? Are you being mindful? Is your mind wandering, or are you listening to what they're saying? Are you feeling, what they're saying? Are you engaging with them in conversation? Are you just sitting there and experiencing the moment with them? Sometimes I think in life, there's times when, talking and all of that, but there's other times where just even sitting or just spending that time with someone, is so powerful and so important. You don't even have to.
You're tuned in to
necessarily.
GHCR, Grant Houses Community Radio, home of the Community News Service.
Put a frog in boiling water and it'll jump right out. But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, that frog will boil. As a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans, it's a story that rings true. We learn to endure the heat in silence. We apply what we learn to life, the bills, the job, the family, things we're expected to handle with ease. When life heats up around us, we just try to stay afloat. We let the water boil. Reaching out isn't easy, but you've never been interested in easy. You joined because you were not afraid of hard work. You are not a frog. If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait until the water boils. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach. Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Rochell, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I apologize. I'm not in the studio, so I don't have control of the equipment. So I had no control over that anyway. What were we saying about the preciousness of time?
Sure. So, about that time, spent with others, as I was saying, not just those minutes or the hours, but actually making sure that we're there, in mind, body, and spirit, that we're actually there present with the person. And sometimes that can take, the form of speaking with them or talking, and other times it's just being there or thinking of them. So there's so many ways, to interact with others of time. But I think, being aware of that, of how precious, the time spent with others is, that's really the key thing to remember. If I'm going to spend time with someone that, that you care about, yeah, make sure that you're there completely, being there with them, not somewhere else in your head, or,
Wow.
your spirit, like, where are you, or are you there with them? If someone asked you after that meeting, what color was the person's shirt? What were they talking about? How were they feeling that day? Could you answer that question, or would you not know?
Mm-hmm.
Or how would you feel after? Did you feel energized? Did you feel, brought up in spirit? Did you feel maybe a little bit melancholy? All these things. Were you there? Were you experiencing it, or were you just passing through?
So speaking of time and how precious time is, I took the time and I went to meet with a nutritionalist. And one of the things that he expressed to me, she said, well, she was saying, how do you eat? What do you eat? She said, you watching TV when you're eating? And sometimes I do. She was saying that a good thing to do is to be present with your food as you're eating it. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I want to get through the food. I'm trying to get through it, eat it right fast. But she's saying honor the food, each bite, and just honor. That makes a huge difference. Which like, wow, that's news to me. What's your thoughts? Honoring, taking the time with the food that you're eating, and honoring that food.
Right. I was just thinking about this the other day, actually, about food, and how it's such, an important thing in our lives. And, we find ways to prepare foods and, enjoy them with our family and friends. But we often forget that food in and of itself is energy. It's energy. It keeps us going. It keeps us alive. The food that was grown out in the fields is energy from the sun, right? They absorbed all that energy, and they grew, and we're eating it now. That's what's keeping us going. That's what's keeping us alive and vibrant and radiant. And wow, what a process. And to not think about that, or consider it, or honor it, or even the process from the farm, to the store, to your house, to your table. That's wow. Like, so many things have to happen.
Right.
For
Right.
so many things. And
Right.
As we've seen, throughout the pandemic, when there's a shortage of something, we all go, whoa, where's my whatever? I'm looking for this and I can't find it. Unfortunately, it's only at that point where then that value, it's so much more valuable because we can't find it. We're looking for it. But, to really think about food in that way of, wow, this is really deep. This is energy. This is time, of sunlight, and time spent growing in the field. And here we are eating, and not a lot of times, really sitting down and respecting that of, wow, this time that has just passed is now fueling us for the future, for the next day or two. Like, wow, how incredible is that?
Well, how incredible is this? For you and I to be sitting here right now, think about all the things that had to happen for that to happen, for this to happen right now. Wow.
Right. So many things.
Yes. So at the radio station at WCR, there's a young lady, Keziah. She had a guest on, And the guest said something that probably stuck with me. She says, "You must honor your breath." I was like, whoa, it's in every breath. What's your thoughts on that, Rochelle?
Yeah, I mean, how differently one breath, to the next, it's something that we don't think about, but, all those little moments of time, and how it just goes by so quickly and we don't even think about it. And again, to slow down and think about, wow, yeah, it feels good, right? It feels good to breathe. And then maybe those times when you get sick, when you have a cold and it's not so easy to breathe, and you just wish you were better, that you were breathing better. And then when you finally do recover, you're like, wow, I feel good. I feel great. Oh, and and just keeping that thought, of, yeah, I'm here. This is a moment. This is the moment that I'm here, I'm here doing whatever it is that I'm doing.
Okay. So here we go. I don't know if you're ready for this question. Are you ready for this next question? Did you hear me?
It cut out there for a moment. Could you repeat what you said?
I said, can you cook?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite dish?
Everything.
No, what's your favorite dish to make?
I like food.
What's your favorite dish to make?
Let's see. I really enjoy baking.
Baking.
Yeah. I can cook. But I do enjoy baking. I love that time. I guess it's just the time thing of, collecting the ingredients, reading the recipe, thinking about the finished product, the preparation of that, and then putting the thing into the oven and then waiting, cleaning up, and then what's the final product going to be? I don't know. Was I paying enough attention in the process? Did I, overmix something? Did I undermix it? Did I do it just right? I hope it turns out okay. We're going to have to see. I have to wait. So it's kind of like a surprise. And then there are some times, when you did it right and yeah, that's going to be a great, pie or bread or whatever, what have you.
So I want you to cook for me. But I have to give you the recipe though. So this dish is going to be, first we're going to put in some gratitude. Then we're going to put in some positivity. Then we're going to put in some creativity. Then we're going to put in some faith. And I'm a fan. I love Napoleon Hill and the work that he did. And his first principle is definite major purpose. So definite major purpose meaning knowing what you want. A lot of people, if you ask what they want, I want to be happy. No, you have to be specific. Break it down to the specific. Like your book, 60 Days to Do an Event. It's like specific. So you want to be like that with your goal and your dreams. So definite purpose. Your purpose is going in that meal. And let's throw some focus in there too. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so a little bit, gotta put love in there. Let's put some love in there. What do we have? What did that dish come out to? What is that?
A dream.
A dream. Oh, a dream. Wow. Okay. That's not a dream fulfilled, but it's a dream.
No, it's a dream. But like Napoleon Hill says, right? Thoughts are things.
Right.
So it may not be a thing yet here that we can feel, but it's up here. And this is real. So it's just taking it to that next step. It's baking it, right? Like when we talk about, I have an idea, it's half baked. It's like, it's still an idea until we, fully form that idea. So to me, the dream is still, it's that idea of, this is what I want. It hasn't yet shown up maybe in the physical form yet, but it's still, that's how the physical thing happens. That's how we get there.
Mhm. Now, are we boiling this or are we baking this?
You can boil it. You can apply a little bit of boiling heat, and
Can we do both?
have that water. You could do both, right? That's a souffle.
Ah, okay. All right.
Right, or any bread, I mean, and on a level, the bubbles coming up, and expanding. Not necessarily boiling per se, but yeah, it's all growing, expanding.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah, it's all the same.
so I want you to tell me what your thoughts on this. So I've been studying a little bit of this. I'm somewhat of a student of this thing called personal development. You can see my books here. These are all personal development books, like some way, somehow to educate you in some way, some, whatever. So I've been studying it for a little while, right? So I'm into it. I like it. So one day I'm walking down the street. I'm going to the gym. I see a young man, a young lady walking about 5 paces in front of me. And I've said this to other people before, but walking down the street, I said, "Excuse me." They turn around. I says, "Go for your dreams." So he looks at me and he kind of does something. So now I'm looking at, what is he doing? The young lady, he showed me her t-shirt and it said, "Your dreams deserve your courage." I was like, wait a minute, that didn't just happen. Nowhere in the world that could happen. And that's what happened. So what's your thoughts on that, Rochell? Your dreams deserve your courage.
Yeah. I totally agree that, the dreams pop up because they're there for us to go after. It exists. So, therefore there's a way to reach it, to get it. And just like so many things that, we've seen throughout history of things that didn't necessarily exist, physically, have come about because someone had a dream. And that ongoing belief and faith in making that thing happen, that can create so many other things besides just that dream. So I think it's just, an important part of that energy, just like we were talking about with food, putting that energy into our bodies, having that energy, and then making sure it's shown and guided to the right way, to the right path of where we want to direct it, as opposed to just having it, fizzle out.
Now, where does mindset come into play?
Mindset is huge. I don't know if you've heard the quote from Henry Ford, the founder of the Ford Ford cars and the Motor Corporation. One of his quotes was, "Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right."
Right.
So either way, if you think you can, do a push-up, you can do it. If you think you can't do a push-up, you're not going to do the push-up. So, mindset is huge because it will determine whether or not you'll be working closer towards your dream. And, I do a lot of that work, mindset work with my, with my clients, helping them understand, well, what mindset do you have right now? And where do you want to be? And what parts of the current mindset do we need to tweak or shift to help you get to where you want to be? So, having a positive mindset, it's just like I said about time, like having the two things, like a positive mindset and a negative mindset. It's like, it is great to be in a positive mindset, right? To have that feeling and the thought and all that. It may not feel so great to have the negative mindset, but it lets you know that you can change and you can shift to a positive or feel better, right? You may not feel completely different, like from, completely empty to full, but you can feel better. And that sense of, improvement, that sense of positivity or that faith or that optimism can be really good and useful, when you're doing, that self-development and that self work about, well, I'm not feeling maybe as, positive as I did another time, but I'm feeling better than I did maybe just a minute ago or 30 seconds ago. And that's the habit, that we all need to practice. Like, it does require, a lot of, work, but just, being that awareness of your thoughts of where am I? Am I tending towards this way where I don't want to be? Or do I want to, am I tending towards this other way? And how can I make sure that I'm working on that and, keeping to that positive side?
How does being organized or being in order and practicing good time management principles or skills, how does that affect someone's mental health?
I
Dr.
think,
Rochell.
well, I'm not a medical doctor,
Right.
but I think it can be a tool certainly for people. Obviously there's that, the practical need of, having things organized, or managing one's time, but it can be, that tool or that personal development to help you feel better. Because when we manage our time or when we take the time to organize things, we're being mindful. We're thinking of the future. We're thinking of our future selves and how we can take steps to, make things better for ourselves. So it really can be a self-development process. I like to tell people when it comes to organizing things, or when you organize or when you file things, you're doing it for your future self. You want to find the thing that you need in the future. It's not in the past. It's not even in the present. It's in the future. And that's why you need to take care to think about, how am I going to file this? There's a whole way of doing it, but, generally it's to be able to find something easily and quickly when you need it and not be confused or, troubled by it or, anxious. Like, where is the thing? Where did I put it? Oh no, it's right here. Clearly marked. I can find it. I know where it is. So in a way it is, organizing can be like that type of self-care of I care enough about myself that I don't want to be stressed or frazzled in the future. And let me just take a moment now to do what I need to do. And then I don't have to worry about it.
What's the biggest challenge that someone has came to you with as far as time, as far as being organized? What's the biggest challenge that you had to help someone with?
I think it goes really towards mindset, and there can be a tendency for people to think, well, I want to do this, but I'm just not wired that way. I can't do it. So there's that push pull. I want to be this person, but I can't be that person because I'm already this way. And I like to challenge that by finding something in their lives where, making that analogy. Okay, you may not be organized in this part of your life, but is there something in your life where you can find an item easily at home or at work or, at your place of worship or where you volunteer? And most of the time people will say, yeah, I can do that. Or time, if you are having difficulty when it comes to managing your time in one way or one area of your life, maybe at work, but when it comes to, arriving on time to your favorite, exercise or on time for a movie, can you do that? Oh yeah, I can do that. So, it's helping people see those, making those analogies, like, yes, managing time, it's the same thing. It's being aware, but sometimes we may not see that we are actually capable of doing it in a different setting or environment. And for me, it's that helping them see that mindset and that mindset shift. If that willingness is there, if you want to change and you're willing to do the work, we can do it. We can work together to help you get there. And if you allow yourself to see like, oh yeah, I can do these things. Wait a minute, why am I saying that I can't? And helping them better understand that and work more towards that awareness and self-awareness of, why do I keep saying that I can't do this thing when in fact I have done this and continually do this throughout my life? So yeah, definitely with that awareness of mindset and helping them expand and grow.
So we are at the end, but I have a final question. I think this might be a challenging question. I like to know what you can share. I would like for you to give me a big, audacious dream or goal that you want to achieve that you can share, that you don't mind sharing. It's got to be a little bit outrageous. Like, I want people to say, she's crazy. You can't do that. Oh, did you hear the video I played at WACR, the crazy ones? Oh, yeah, I did call you. Yeah. So it's got to be crazy now. Got to be crazy. It's got to be big and audacious. Like, even you say, man, why did I say that? That might be too much for me. Give me a big, audacious goal or dream.
Ooh. It has to do something with time. That's what's coming up here that I'm feeling.
Yeah. So let me just jump in while you're still thinking about that. Let me just jump in real quick. Coming up on 1,000 show celebration. I want to take that and use it as an opportunity to help, touch, inspire, uplift as many people as I can with this thing called personal development, motivation, positivity, success, principle. It's a different way. It works. These principles work. So I want to give a different thought process. I don't have to stand on the corner and sell drugs. I can stand on the corner and sell books or, something else. Another big idea. So anyway, I just want to throw that in there. So any thoughts yet? Big, audacious goal?
Let's see. Since I'm, on the subject of time, it would be, I think, my goal to challenge people to think about their time and what their time is truly worth.
Okay.
What's the value of your time? And I'm not talking necessarily in, financial terms, but what's that value?
How would you do that? How would you express that how would you get that message to them?
That's a good question.
Crazy mark there. One of the things that just came up for me when I sent out a text message to people that I know, people that I'm with, family members, it's just family members. I says, hey, coming up on 1,000 shows, give me an idea what you think is a good way to celebrate. And people were giving me ideas about your best guests, greatest shows, this and that. Now, that sounds wonderful. But one of my students said, hey, how about a boxing exhibition? I was like, bing. The light went off. I was like, yeah, I like that. So somehow to mix the 1,000 show celebration with a boxing exhibition. And it'll really be a miracle if I get my engineer, Doug Frazier, to be my opponent. He's a basketball guy. He's never boxed before, but that'd make it even perfect. He's big. He's a big guy, So if I knocked him out, that would be like, yes, I knocked out a big guy, a basketball guy. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. He's probably enjoying hearing this about the knockout boxing. But yeah, so that's one of my goals and dreams. And maybe have like a big party, boxing, workout, boxing exhibition. I don't know. Just throwing ideas out there. Well, let me get your website again, how to reach you, and your book titles and everything, and how to reach you.
Sure. So the website is theorderexpert.com. And the name of my books that are related to time are The Order Expert's Guide to Time Management and How to Plan a Great Event in 60 Days.
Yeah. Remember this guy, Flavor Flav? Public Enemy?
Mm-hmm.
Guy used to wear a big clock.
Yes.
A big clock. I don't know. So I'm just throwing it out. I don't know. We're coming with something.
I remember once many years ago, I was on the train and it was Halloween. And, we was sitting there and people were trying to guess people, what their costumes were. And someone was walking around with the clock. And I remember this one woman looking at him thinking, what is he? What is he? And then she said, oh, Flavor Flav.
Yeah. Right.
And finally hit her and was like, oh, yes, I remember.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know if I would wear a clock like that, but
big clock, yeah. Yeah.
But
well, sometimes you got to step outside the box. Sometimes
that's true. That's true.
But you don't have to get too crazy though. Anyway, I want to thank you, Rochell. This has been amazing. I think it's going to help a lot of people. And give me the website again.
Sure. It's theorderexpert.com.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Rochell. And I wish you much success.
Oh, thank you very much, Rick. It
and
was a pleasure being on the show.
What's that?
I said it was a pleasure being on the show.
Yes, and I'm going to reach out to you for my 1,000. You about that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.